Hey, how's it going, guys? This is your boy Hazzed, and today we're going to be talking about another Frost DK PvP nerf. Oh, they just coming at us again. Anyways, guys, in this video, we're going to recap what's went on with DKs over the past month, and then we're going to talk about specifically what went on with this nerf and how much it's going to currently affect us and where we currently stand compared to where we were. So anyways, guys, let's jump into this. So guys, I'm not gonna lie, I woke up this morning and reading the news that we got nerfed by another 10% in PvP. I was a little disgruntled, and I definitely was not in a happy mood for a good hour or two. I mean, I even was calling my buddy Plank a noob, and I never call Plank a noob. Like, you never do that. But anyway, going over exactly how much we're being nerfed is 10% strength, another 10%. Now, kind of capping over what we've seen over the last month is roughly about a month ago, we got buffed up an insane amount. And at one point, we were dealing so much damage, it was absolutely ridiculous the amount of pressure we could pump out. And then after about 2 weeks, or I think it was actually a week, we got a nerf by 10% strength, and it nerfed our damage down by quite a bit. But as we could see, there was still just a ton of damage being pumped out by Frost DKs. Any Frost DK, really, like, you didn't have to be that great to pump out a ton of damage, at least in AoE situations. As for single target, it took a little more skill using the consistency spec and a change up into rotation, but it was too powerful for how much damage it could do over and over and over again, especially with that shortened cooldown. Because once the spec, of course, got rolling, it was impossible to stop, because you just have 40-second CDs over and over again on classes with a minute to 2 minute CDs, and you just train wreck them over and over again. And of course, with the offset of CDs, of healer CDs, it was just too hard to control with that amount of damage. So what they did, of course, is they nerfed us again, the following, by another 10%. So right now, we've been nerfed in PvP since about a month ago by 20% in PvP. Now, this is where it kind of gets fun. From where we were a month ago, we're still stronger than we were. Now, you're probably thinking, how we lose 20% strength, but we're still stronger? You gotta remember, they buffed base stats of abilities, and they also buffed attack power percentage that abilities proc off of. Of course, that's going to make Howling Blast take a minor hit on attack power more than the other abilities. Frost Strike damage is going to drop down a little bit, which is a little bit unsavory. But other than that, I mean, we're really only losing about 20k a hit again, which, you know, it's the same nerf we had before, so you could basically just refer back to the 10% nerf video, where I, of course, took off a piece of gear, which is equivalent. You know, I took off my boots, which now it's like, you know, 20%, which we'd have to take off boots and belt, and that would basically be the comparison to a 20% strength nerf in PvP, and you know exactly how much damage you're going to do by doing that test. So just kind of revert back to that video, use the same logic, and of course in that video I stated that the nerf was about a third of the buff that we received. So this of course, 10% nerf again. It's going to be a little bit more effective than... Actually, I think it's less effective than the last one now that I'm thinking about it. Again, is going to be another third. So we've lost about 2/3 of the buff that we received, of course, in the beginning of the month. And, of course, we've also received the fixing of Razor Eyes, which added the extra 15% frost damage, making us really powerful. So there was a lot of kind of overclocking with Frost DKs that needed to be fixed within the PvP world. Because in World PvP with these buffs, guys, all I had to do was literally proc my ring on somebody, get my extra haste, kite them around until they didn't have cooldowns, and then I ran up to them, got my extra haste from Frost Strikes, and just dumped cooldowns into them, and they just exploded in seconds with all that extra haste. It was kind of ridiculous. But yeah, I could just kind of kite people around that way and Death Strike proc off them, and actually like 1v4, 1v5 sometimes in World PvP, it was just absolutely insane. And at this point, do I feel like the nerf was needed? Now, this is this is where it kind of gets tricky for me, in my opinion, guys. In battleground situations, I definitely feel like our damage needed to be toned down because, of course, like the last battleground I did, I was able to do over almost a million DPS inside of a battleground, and that team looked like they were actually winning that whole fight, but one set of cooldowns totally flopped that whole big battle there, and that necessarily, I don't feel like that should be how things go for one class. Of course, that 10% nerf is going to nerf our burst, everything down by quite a bit. I'm still hoping to get that artifact talent pretty soon. That extra, you get that at like 33, 35 artifact weapon, something like that, where you get that extra 5% damage. So if I get, 2 levels into that, it just kind of gets rid of that nerf, and I'm happy. So that's what I'm going to be shooting for, if you guys know what I mean. So we still have the ability to, amp up ourselves back to where we were with, those little talents. So that is kind of cool. But overall, we definitely are taking quite a bit of a nerf here. What do I feel like it should have affected in Arena? Like, should we have taken that nerf in Arena? As for Arena rankings, the highest Frost DK was ranked 12, behind, of course, a lot of other classes. So I feel like Frost DKs, of course, were really strong. They weren't necessarily top tier in Arena before the nerf. I mean, of course, rank 12, that's not bad. I'm not going to lie. Like, that's still like 2,800 plus, still top tier, but it's not like top 10, obviously. So they weren't overpowered. It wasn't like Frost DKs down the list. And of course, I glanced through, roughly around the top 100, and there was a handful of DKs, but nothing that was really outstanding, and nothing that was really baffling there. But I could definitely see at the lower ratings that there was a lot of Frost DKs being played as the flavor, easily pushing up rating using burst comps that really don't even need CC, and because the damage was so strong, people were easily able to get arena rating through playing a Frost DK. And of course, we know people that keep re-rolling flavors is really what gets everybody nerfed. Like, of course, a class can be strong, everyone's happy with it, but when people have a problem is when a class is super strong and then all of a sudden there's 20 of them in a battleground, half the battlegrounds this class, and everyone's like, really guys, come on. See, that's the frustrating thing to me, is when kind of DKs become this, because, at the beginning of the expansion, I had to fight all the way through it to compete with all these other people, and everyone is like, you're so crappy, your class is crappy, you're crappy, and all of a sudden everyone's like, your class is just OP, and I'm like, come on guys. Well, like, can you not win? Is it not possible to win? No, it's not possible to win, guys. Don't even try. But alright, guys, so overall, we're taking a nerf. We've got nerf down about 2/3 of what we received at the beginning of the month. We're definitely sitting above what we were, and of course, I'm going to try and pump out some videos for you guys. Of course, a battleground video, of course, some arena videos, letting you know exactly what I think about where we're sitting after this nerf. But I think we're still fine, guys, because honestly, before we got buffed, I was still doing fairly solid in battlegrounds. I was still topping the meters. As for arena, I didn't really test out too much arena in the beginning, of course. But of course, I'm starting to jump into it more as we progress on, and of course, rating kind of slows down, becomes faster, and I get more time to spend doing other things. But anyways, guys, I want to kind of update you on that, let you know our class is not dead. It's quite a nerf at this point. 20% is quite a bit, but I feel like I'll still be able to pump out quite a bit of damage, because as of yesterday, I posted on the Twitter a screenshot of a battleground I did, and the battleground I did like 141 million DPS, and there was other DPS in there that I knew were skilled DPS that did like 100 mil, but they couldn't come anywhere close to the amount of pressure that I was pushing out. And these were like Boomies and another Frost DK, which of course the other Frost DK I don't think was nearly as high artifact level or item level, so he was a bit behind on that. But my damage was, it was crazy. Like, I literally out-damaged, if you add up like 60% of the other team, add them all together, my damage was more than that. Like, it's a bit nuts at the moment, guys. But I feel like if there is a fix for this issue, I feel like if there is something that they can do to tone down the damage of Frost DKs, is probably to give us Asphyxiate back and then get rid of slightly some of our AoE. But as of that, that's about my opinion on it. I don't feel like they should give back Death Siphon. As I know, it is a popular idea to give back Frost DK's Death Siphon. In my mind, Warlords of Draenor was too easy with Death Siphon, and I got straight bored of dueling because it was so easy, guys. But anyways, that's going to be it for this video. I wanted to update you guys and let you know that we're not dead. We're not dead in the water. We are actually still buffed from what we were a month ago. We just got nerfed 2/3 of kind of what we received. And, of course, they kind of reworked some of our talents, so we are slightly stronger with those. Anyways, guys, until next time, leave a like. This was your boy Hazzed.